and you're in the right place if you're here for the webinar, How to Offer 3 Commission Rates and Why the Seller Always Picks the Highest Rate, which is higher than your competitors. Learn how one top agent sets up the game board so sellers are demanding the highest rate he offers. All right, if you're just coming in, what I'd like you to do is go ahead and find that chat box. It'll be somewhere on your screen depending on your device, but it'll look like this, maybe a little orange or yellow box. In the bottom, go ahead and type in the city that you're in, press enter, and then on 2, a white box will pop open under number 2 with a temporary name. Go ahead and type your name in there and press go, and then I'll be able to see you when we get to the Q&A at the end. And that'll also allow you to ask questions as we go along. So go ahead and enter your information into that chat box, and we'll go ahead and we'll be getting started in just a minute or so. Looks like we have May from Hawaii. Hey, May, welcome back. And Lanita from Washington, D.C., welcome back again. And then we've got Lou from Boston and Brian. Brian from Brian, I think you typed your name in there, but that's all cool. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll start up in a minute. I'm just going to take a second and get a drink of water here. Hi, I'm Mike Cerrone with Mastermind Agent, and you're in the right place if you're here for the webinar, How to Offer 3 Commission Rates and Why the Seller Always Picks the Highest Rate, which is higher than your competitors. Learn how one top agent sets up the game board so sellers are demanding the highest rate he offers. All right, so if you're just coming in, the next thing to do is find this chat box on your screen somewhere. Go up, down to the side. It'll be somewhere there. And type in your city down at the bottom. Press enter. And when you do, a little white box will pop up that says log in. Don't worry about that. Just go to number 2 where it says temporary name. Type in your name. Press go. And that'll put you into the chat box. Excuse me. So let's see. It looks like we've got, hey, Brian, thank you for fixing that. I see Brian is from Allentown. Welcome, Brian. We have Anonymous from Fort Lauderdale. So if you pick number 1, it shows you as Anonymous, and that's fine as well. We've got Telly from Chicago. Hey, Telly. We got Rich from Lincoln. We got Lodi from the Bay Area in California. Hey, Lodi, that's a beautiful area out there. We've got Anonymous from Northern Virginia, another gorgeous area. We've got Kara from Delaware. Well, this is fantastic. Thank you so much for joining me today. We'll probably get started here in just a second. I'll probably give about 30 more seconds for folks to show up. I see a lot of people coming in. Pretty cool, pretty exciting. So again, if you're coming in right now, go ahead and find that chat box on your screen. And press and type in your city name, press enter, and when the white box pops open, go to number 2 where it says temporary name, type in your name, press go, and we'll get you into the chat so you can ask some questions. All right, looks like we got, if I'm saying correctly here, fun show. I hope I said that right, from Midlands in the UK. Welcome, that's exciting. We got Jess from San Jose. Awesome. I'm real excited to get this webinar going for you today. So let's go ahead and jump right in to the material. And here we go. So let's start. Hi, I'm Mike Cerrone with Mastermind Agent, and this is the webinar, How to Offer 3 Commission Rates and Why the Seller Always Picks the Highest Rate, which is higher than your competitors. Learn how one top agent sets up the game board so sellers are demanding the highest rate he offers. All right, now this is a live webinar, by the way. We're doing this August 4th, 2017. It's about 11 o'clock in the morning, my time, which is Mountain Time. I'm out in Colorado. It's 1 o'clock on the East Coast, and then it's 10 o'clock on the West Coast. And for May out there in Hawaii, I think it's 7 o'clock in the morning. Thanks for joining us. I don't know what time it is in the UK, but this is fantastic. Again, thank you everybody for joining us. All right, so let's jump in. This is a deep dive. It's going to be quick and to the point. We should be done in about 60 to 70 minutes. I'm getting a little better about staying on track there. There will be no replays. I keep messing up the technology. If I get it right, there will be, but otherwise there won't. So please stay to the end to get the information. Now, if you have any questions, go ahead and type them into that question box as you think of them. That's why I want to get you started on that chat box. I won't be answering questions as we go unless we have some kind of tech problem, but I will be answering full Q&A at the end. And I like to let you have that chat box so that you can see what's going on out there. Excuse me, so you can see what's going on, so you can think about what your questions are and get them out there before you forget. All right, so here we go. So you're in the right place if you've ever lost a listing to a discount broker offering a super low fee. You want a way to get your foot in the door by offering a low commission, but you do not want the seller to hire you at that low rate. You want to offer a 3 commission rate structure and get the seller to always pick your highest rate, which is even higher than your competitors. This sounds kind of crazy, doesn't it? But I'm going to show you how one top agent is doing it. By the way, you may be noticing that I'm putting up these items and I'm basically reading them. It's so that I stay on track and I make sure you get all the information you need. Sometimes I go on tangents, which if you've been with me before, you know that's true. This will help me keep on track so we get done in a reasonable amount of time. So that's why we're doing that. So here's what you're going to learn today. How to set up a 3 commission rate structure that will result in bargain hunter sellers, like for sell by owners, being attracted to the low rate and setting appointments with you, then picking your highest rate at the appointment. You're going to learn how to present the commission options so the seller feels no pressure. And that's the key to this, by the way. You might have thought there's going to be a lot of pressure. There's none. And the seller is going to pick the highest rate on their own. Now we're going to show you the diagram that you draw to explain the cost-benefit analysis for each commission plan, and also the script that one top agent uses that results in the seller always picking his highest commission rate, even when it's higher than the competitors. Okay, and we'll also show you his script for setting the appointment initially. So a lot of good information is going to be coming out today. So sit back, make sure you got some water and pencil and paper to take a lot of notes. It's going to be a lot of fun. I got a free surprise for you if you stay to the end. I'm going to give you a copy of my seller lead sheet. It's my seller intake form that I personally used to find out seller motivation and timing and set appointments with the most motivated folks. That's what I used when I listed 21 homes in 30 days. So stay to the end and I'll show you how you can get that form. So who is Mike Cerrone and why should I listen to him? Now, I've got 2 groups of people on the call right now. I got one group, they've been with me before, they know my story, and I'm sorry, I'm going to bore you for a few minutes. And then I got another group of people who've never heard about me before, and I want to make sure you have a little bit of background just so you know that what I'm telling you makes sense. So here we go. I've had my real estate license for 24 years. I started very, very slow. I don't know if you had a slow start or a fast start, but I sold 7 homes in my first full year. My broker told me I was doing great, better than most in my office, but I didn't feel very good about it because I was living in this little teeny apartment, a little studio apartment, and driving an old car and eating top ramen. That was my life. It was pretty rough, but I really wanted this to work, so I kept at it. I eventually got my closings up to 20 closings per year. I was pretty excited about that, except that it stalled out, and I stalled out at 20 closings a year for 3 years in a row. I was kind of stuck at that level, and I was a little bit hard-headed. I don't know if anybody on the call is hard-headed. We tend to have a lot of hard-headed people in our industry. I think you got to be kind of tough to do this job. And I wanted to invent everything myself. I wanted to be my own person, and I thought that would be the way to go. So it actually held me back a little bit, though. 19 years ago, about 5 years into my business, I heard about a 1-hour videotape of a top agent who was demonstrating his listing presentation, and I knew focusing on listings would stabilize my income. I had been working with buyers, right? So I was on that real estate roller coaster where I was making a lot of money one month and then no money the next month, and I was getting a little queasy with that. But I wouldn't invest the money to buy this tape, even though I had a feeling it would help me out. And at the time, if you took that money and you forwarded it, it'd be about $1,000 today to get that tape. So every time I struggled on a listing appointment, and the way you can read that is I didn't get the listing, right? Something went bad, seller turned me away. I remembered that tape and I kept thinking, geez, if I just knew what the top agents were doing, maybe I could do what they're doing and get better results. Well, 1 year later, I finally broke down. I just broke down and I took out my credit card and I invested the money in that tape. Now, it took a while to get to me because came through the old snail mail. This is a while back, but it finally got to me by mail. And when I got it, I ripped open the package. It was in my office. I couldn't wait to watch it. So, I ran home that night and I slammed it into the VCR. And that's how old this was, by the way, the old VCR tape. I'm sure you recall those. And I watched it over and over, backwards and forwards, and start wearing out that tape. The next day, I modified my listing presentation based on what I saw. And I took a listing that night with incredible ease. It was the words that the top agent was using started to kind of pop out of my mouth. I didn't even know how. And so I did take some of the diagrams I saw and added them to my listing presentation, and that started to make a difference. Well, I spent the next a couple of days. I rewatched that video over and over, and I kept tweaking my presentation. Oh, I apologize there. I just kept modeling the top agents. And by the way, if you get anything from today, and that would be the key, is that if there's anything you want to do, go find someone who's doing it at a high level and just model them. You probably have heard that before, and maybe you've even done it before, but man, it is a faster way to get to the result that you want. So I just started copying what he was saying and how he was presenting to the seller in the tape, and everything started to go up from there, right? That year, I focused on listings, and my production doubled from 20 to 41 closings. And I had this more consistent income. I got off that real estate roller coaster income ride. I continued to master my presentation, and soon I was listing 5 to 10 homes per month. In my best month, I listed 21 homes in 30 days. And by the way, I did that at 21 different kitchen tables. I get the comment all the time, geez, Michael, 21 different listings. Was it on an REO account? Was it with a bank? No, I've never done an REO sale. Was it with a builder? No, I never listed builders' homes. Was it a good friend of yours who had a bunch of land or something? No, nothing like that happened. These were all different sellers that I went out and found through prospecting and marketing, and did it 21 different tables. Pretty exciting. My production jumped to 95 closings in a year, and then 113 closings in 1 year. And I was listed in the top 300 agents in the nation by the National Association of Realtors magazine. And I thought I kept the magazine, and I'm kicking myself because I couldn't find it. But I went out on the internet and I found this, and it showed that year the top 300 salespeople in the nation, and it showed that I was ranked number 263, and I had 113 closings that year right here in Colorado. So it's a pretty exciting time. The only mistake that I think that I made was I waited that 1 year to buy the tape. After I bought that tape, I literally made 1,000 times my investment back over the next few years. I mean, it's really quite incredible. I just wish I would not have lost that year by waiting. I almost fell out of the business, quite honestly. It was a very difficult year, and so I kicked myself even harder. But I realized that this listing process is transferable, and that was the coolest part, I think. If I could learn it, so could others, right? So I decided to hire a listing agent. I was getting super busy. It was hard to keep up with everything. I was listing all those properties. I was running like crazy. And so I tried to do something new. Now, this idea of a listing agent or listing specialist to come in and help was very, very new at the time. I didn't know anybody in my market that was doing it. Only saw a couple of the top agents around the nation kind of toying with it. They had buyer agents, but listing agent was really new. And so nobody in my market wanted to do it. But I finally found a young man in his 20s. His name was Jamie, and he had just had his license for 6 months. He'd only closed 2 buyer transactions. He'd never taken a listing, but he was friendly, and no one else applied, so he was the guy. So I took him under my wing, and for the first month, I trained him for a few hours a week. Now, not very much. In fact, he got real bored, real restless. I think he was going to quit. So the second month, he told me things weren't going so well, and I said, you know what? Let's do this. Why don't you go out on a few solo listing appointments? I can't take you out there, but why don't you go on your own? Take some of my reject leads, people I don't think that are even going to list, and you just practice. You can practice with them, and we'll see what happens. And to our surprise, he started listing homes. Over half the appointments he went on, he listed in the second month. He was using this system that we'd established, and all of a sudden I noticed it was transferable. And in fact, what's really incredible is by his third month on the job, he listed 14 homes in 30 days and was earning $10,000 per month. Now, that was $10,000 net, by the way, because he didn't have any expenses, which is pretty cool. And that was way back then. A young guy in his 20s, that was good money. So how did this work out? Well, modeling. Modeling is the key. I keep wanting to let you know that is the trick here. It's nothing more complicated than that. Just do what other people are doing. You know, I modeled the top agents. Jamie modeled me. We both had really quick success after we broke down and just said, okay, fine, let me see what everybody else is doing. So I went on to, people always say, geez, Mike, what happened after that in your business and so forth? How did you get here? Well, I went on and I built real estate brokerages, mortgage brokerages, real estate investment companies, a lot of fun. I ended up selling. Now I'm kind of semi-retired from real estate, and it got really boring really fast sitting around. You'd think you want to lay around on the beach for a while, but believe me, it gets boring. So I said, you know what? I really love real estate. Let's go back in and see if we can help. So today I interview the top agents in the nation for success calls on the Mastermind Agent Network. And it's just such a blast to talk to the top folks and see what they're doing. By the way, the amazing part, they're doing today pretty much what they did 10 and 20 years ago. All these things are really, and so much of it is evergreen and is the same, but that's another conversation. Occasionally, I host summits with top trainers and top agents around the nation. And I recently hosted the Listing Agent Summit, which was really cool. It's where 14 top agents demonstrated their listing presentation in detail and showed us their exact presentation scripts and handouts. And what I want to do now is I'm going to share some of the findings from that summit. Now, some people say, well, yeah, okay, well, who was there? Were they really any good or not? Well, yeah, these 14 top people were amazing. So I just want you to see who they were. Eric Hatch sold 508 homes in 1 year. That's pretty spectacular, right? Chantel Ray on track to sell 13 homes in 1 year. Brian Macker, 235 homes. He takes all of his own listings, by the way. I get that question often. Melinda Estridge, 120 homes in 1 year. Nate Martinez, 616 homes. Patrick Tuttle, 80 homes in 1 year, but he's also managing about 200 properties. He's doing property management as well. Paul Wheeler, 248 homes. Judy Jackson is a listing specialist for a top agent, and she listed 7 homes in 7 days. When you get a system, things can go fast. We got Shane White, 212 homes. We have Steve Cohen, who had 106 homes. We got Shara McCollum, 210 homes. Bob McTagg, 210 homes. Wayne Turner, 286 homes. And Denny Grimes, 400 homes in 1 year. I just want you to know we're taking information from super sharp people here. Well, after we did the summit, I started to watch these demonstrations of their listing presentations. I kind of got obsessed, like I did years before when I got that tape in the mail. And so I started watching those training sessions over and over and over again. And I was amazed at all the details and how much they were sharing. It's quite shocking to me, even just why they would give so much, but they did it. It was just all right there. So I picked up stuff on the third viewing. I missed on the second, and on the second, I missed on the first, etc. You know, each agent was sharing so much, I just couldn't get it all. But I wanted to see the patterns, so I kept focusing, and I wanted to mimic their best practices so I could tell you what they were doing. Actually, I'm real excited about this. I ended up creating a 39-page listing presentation template that's modeled after these common elements that came popping out of these top agent presentations. And what I'd like to do now is I'd like to share one of the major lessons that I learned while I was watching the top agents. To put this in context, here is something that I kind of put together as I was watching all these top folks. They had a 10-step listing process that all of them were using. Now, they would use it slightly differently, of course, and how they said it, how they approached it based on their personalities, but this is basically what they were doing. So one, they would go out, and so the call comes in from the seller, right? And they would screen the seller, and they would screen for motivation and timing. They wanted to know right away, is this person quality or not? And if it's so, then they would set that appointment and start moving forward. The next thing they do is they send out a pre-listing package, some by email, some hand-delivered, or some by mail, depending on the person and the situation. They go to the home, do a greet and tour the property. They'd re-qualify the seller to make sure that they're still motivated. Then they'd establish their expertise. They'd show their marketing plan, value the home, show the net sheet and all the costs. They'd go to the closing, get the signature, and handle any objections that pop up. And then they tell the seller, here's what's going to happen next. So that's the 10-step listing process. And what we're going to do today is we're going to jump right into number 8, the net sheet. And we're going to review where you review the estimated cost with the seller and their net proceeds check. Often this is where it pops up about the commission rate if you haven't addressed it earlier in the presentation. So that's why I'm going to jump into this step, and we're going to talk about the situation that we've talked about before, where they've got a discount broker who has offered them a better rate. So let's do this. Let's back up and let's talk about the problem itself. You know, seller calls your office and says he wants to sell his house. You get super excited. You know, your marketing's working, your prospecting is working, people are coming in, they're calling in, and then the seller asks, hey, what is your commission? Ooh, you freeze. I didn't want to talk about this right now. You know, you got a problem here. If you say too high of a number, then the seller may hang up in the opportunity. Did they ever do that to you? They've done it to me. Boy, that's tough. If you say too low, the seller may set the appointment, but now you're leaving money on the table. You might be working for free. So if you say nothing and try to push off the discussion, which some people recommend, that's fine. The seller may agree to do that, or the seller may hang up. So that one's tough as well. It's a tough situation either way, right? But it's a very common situation. You're probably experiencing it today, especially in this very competitive market. Here's a typical conversation that might happen over the phone, right? Seller calls up, what is your commission? Agent says, I charge 8%. When would you like to meet? The seller says, that's too high. I just received a postcard from an agent who will sell my house for $995. And the agent says, well, geez, does that include the buyer agent? And the seller says, I don't know what you're talking about. I'm calling them. Goodbye. Ouch. It's done. You don't even have a chance to talk about anything. It all went south so fast. All right. So this has happened to me. Has this ever happened to you? I can only assume the answer is yes. All right, well, Paul Wheeler is a top agent, and he came over to the Listing Agent Summit. He was very, very gracious. He shared all of his information, including this challenge, right? So Paul Wheeler is a top agent who sold 248 homes in his best year. Pretty spectacular guy, and the friendliest guy you ever want to meet. Great guy. He kept having calls from sellers like the one we just heard. Sellers were calling in and they were asking his rate. And when Paul told the seller the rate, they would say they would get it cheaper and hung up the phone. Or they'd ask him to match the low rate right then and there on the phone. And he's like, geez, what am I supposed to do here? It started to happen with for sale by owners. That's where he first experienced it. But then it started to happen with his referrals from past clients and sphere of influence. That's when he knew he had to take some action. Right? He had to take a different approach. Well, he went back and he just took pencil paper, scribbled it up and said, well, geez, maybe I could do it lower. And he scribbled it all out at this $995 flat rate. And he realized there's no way he could make a profit if he did that. There's no way he could match what his competitors were saying. It just wouldn't work. But Paul did believe that if he could get in the door and he could show the seller how his full commission marketing plan was in fact better than the discount broker, that it would result, because it would result in a faster sale for more money, he just needed to get his foot in the door. If he could just get his foot in the door, things would work out, right? So after a lot of testing, he came up with a solution. And here's what Paul came up with. Paul came up with designing a flexible commission program with 3 commission rates. He started offering this program when the for sale by owners and other sellers, including his past clients, started to ask about his rate during that initial call. And so he added a super low discount flat rate model as one of the options. And so when sellers asked over the phone about his rate, Paul would say, and this is what you want to write down, right? Here's this little script it worked like a charm. Here it goes. Well, I have 3 commission rates starting as low as $995. When would be a good time for me to show you all about it? Today at 4 or tomorrow at 1:30. That's it. That's it. Once he started using that script, they would turn around and start setting the appointments. The for sale by owners were setting appointments, his past clients. Anyone who was asking about this discount, he had gone right over that, and he was able to set the appointment. So again, that script is, I have 3 commission rates starting as low as $995. And he immediately moves forward. When would be a good time for me to show you? today at 4 or tomorrow at 1:30. That's it. How simple is that script? And it worked like gangbusters. So let's fast forward to the presentation, right? He offers the seller 3 commission plans and they always pick the highest rate, which is higher than his market. And it's because he writes it out and talks about the OCR: options, consequences, and recommendations. He sells with a servant's heart. In fact, he calls it servant's heart selling. It's a no pressure way, and it's very, very low key because that's just Paul's personality. So Paul's entire listing presentation is in the summit. You can watch that if you decide to go that route. But let's do something special right now. Okay, let's talk about a few things. I'm sorry, I'm just going to get a quick drink of water here. Thank you. Excuse me. All right, so let's jump back in here. So the commission presentation, let's look at a video. This is going to be really cool. This is very special, by the way. We're going to look at a video of Paul's commission presentation. It's definitely something super special, and it took me a while to think, but I just want to do this for you. I think it's something that will be really, really helpful. I do need to have the talk. We do need to have the talk, okay? The video you're about to see is for educational purposes only. This video is for educational purposes only. This video is for educational purposes only, okay? All right, there are no standard rates. Commissions are negotiable in every market, as you know. Services and programs differ from agent to agent and broker to broker. You need to set your own. You may charge higher or lower than the commissions being demonstrated. Agreed? Okay, this video is just demonstrating a concept that you may use, modify, or reject, right? You can just use the concept, change the numbers to fit your market. The video is about 5 minutes long, and here is Paul role-playing with me about his commission options. Now, I'm going to try to set this up. It's a little strange. Google has these rules. Now, I control the video, so it's not a problem with their terms of service, but they have these weird things about the audio. So I'm not sure if it'll work, but we're going to try it. Okay, so give me a second to move over there. And, oops, just take a second there. We're getting there. I think we're getting there. Where is it? Here we go. And there, hopefully the video has popped up on your screen. Now I'm going to take the headset off, and I'm going to put my microphone up to the speaker, and so it might not be the clearest, but please try to listen. Turn it up on your volume if you need to. This is really good stuff. Here we go.
Perfect. All right, and then I usually bring up commission. I never get questions again in my listing presentation for the most part. I'm just taking them through the education process. I say, okay, great. Well, thank you for your vote of confidence. I'm really excited about helping you make that move to Atlanta, Mike. Let me share one more thing with you, and that's commissions, marketing fees. And so I start off, and as you can see, I'm a scribbler. Again, I turn the sheet over, and I say, all right, standard in town is 6%. It's average, right? So some are higher, some are lower. I have a few different marketing campaigns, and I want to share those with you. All right, my first one is 7%, and that is everything we've got. That is a very aggressive campaign, and in this campaign, you get everything we do for our marketing. Okay. You get our entire team, and you get all the follow-up and feedback. And so that's chasing down all the buyers, and that's me speaking with you each week, analyzing the market data and feedback and helping guide you. In this campaign, 80 to 85% sell in an average of 34 days on the market with a list to sales price ratio of 99%. So on average, to make it easy, if we listed at 100,000, we'd sell for 99. The person that picks this says, I want to sell. I want to sell for the most amount of money in the least amount of time. And so they want to move. And for your situation, Mike, you want to be in Atlanta in 4 months or less, right? So the second campaign is the 6% campaign, and it's the traditional 4 Ps. Put up a sign, put up a key box, put it in the MLS. You know what the MLS is, the multiple listing service. And then we pray, okay? And so this is the traditional marketing campaign that traditional agents do. in this campaign in our market, about 40% sell. If they do sell, it's about 80 to 85 days if they do sell. And then our list to sales price ratio in that campaign is about 95%. Okay. And so the person that generally picks this is generally, they're not as motivated. They don't really care if they sell. And what I hear a lot is, if I don't sell for this amount, I'll just stay here for another 3 to 5 years until the market recovers. Okay. And it's not a bad campaign. It's just not as aggressive. And then my last one is my $995 up front. And so this is for the gamblers, and you usually get a chuckle out of that. And so the seller gives me $995 up front to cover some of the initial costs. And then we still want to offer 3% to the MLS system, the other realtors. And then I charge 1% to negotiate an offer. And so in this particular price range, it was about 4.5%. So a little less cost, but you got risk. You're giving me money up front. Statistically, in this little line here that I've drawn, statistically, it's exactly the same as this one. So just not as aggressive. Might be a cost savings if you do sell. And so you get to pick, and depending on your situation, any of these is fine, but what do you think is best for you in your current situation?
Wow. I'm not sure, Paul. What did most people pick?
Good question. It depends on their situation. It really does. The people that have a timeline want to move, and here I'll share this with you, and this is the most amazing thing to me. So if you look at this, the 6% campaign is 1% less, but it is 4% less on what the seller nets. If a high net to you in a fast sale is the most important thing, choose the aggressive campaign, right? If it doesn't matter if you sell and, it's just you're not as motivated, and you pick this one, or if you're a gambler, pick this one. But in your situation, if you want to be in Atlanta in 4 months, if I was in your shoes, I'd do this, but, what's best for you?
Well, we got to be in Atlanta in 4 months, so I think we'd have to pick that first program.
Yeah, and I completely agree. There's just no way we won't sell in this campaign, and so we'll make sure that you're there in that amount of time, and so yeah, that's I completely agree with you. All right, fantastic. Well, then I will get with my team. They'll contact you tomorrow for paperwork. We'll tell them we're going full-blown marketing. We need to be in Atlanta in 4 months. And so I'm excited about getting you there.
Awesome. Well, I'm hoping that you were able to hear that. If you were able to hear that video, just do me a favor and type into that chat box and let me know, because again, I'm doing it kind of rinky-dinky to get that information out to you. But let me know that you did, in fact, hear that video. I mean, wasn't that spectacular? I mean, it was pretty incredible stuff. Yep, heard it all. Awesome. Thank you. That's fantastic. And we'll try to break that down a little more, but man, that was really cool. I'm so glad that Paul was willing to share how he was going about doing that. Let's talk about what he did. Paul is so caring. He wants sellers to have options and to make really good decisions. And that's the key. I think that's why it works so well for him. He's not high pressure. I don't know if you picked up that from him. He's very laid back. If they go one way, that's fine. If they go another way, that's fine. I've talked to him multiple times, and that's just his approach. He's okay with that. Whatever they decide, he just wants them to make a good decision. Notice that Paul would not tell the seller what to do, and that's kind of key. He won't say, well, you need to do A, B, or C. He just says, hey, here's the options. Here's what's going to pop out. He kept asking, what do you think, right? What do you think? What do you think? He wanted to get them talking and thinking. Paul believes in servant heart selling, right? That's his approach. And he wants to be the guy who backs up and makes sure that they make a good decision. So he uses something called OCR. I don't know if he came up with this or if he got it somewhere else, but I really like his idea. He describes options to the seller. then he explains the consequences, and then he makes recommendations. And then he gets out of the way and lets the seller decide. By doing that, they tend to pick the highest rate. That's the amazing part, right? So no pressure, this no pressure approach typically results in the seller picking his highest rate because they recognize it has the highest value and the highest probability of getting the best results, the results that they want. So if you're losing the battle to discount brokers before you even get a chance to present, consider the 3-commission approach, right? 3-commission option approach. Well, I'm not sure why you showed up today. It could be that you want to know how to structure a 3-commission rate program where the seller always picks the highest rate. It could be that you want to improve your listing presentation so you sign more sellers and beat out other agents in this hyper-competitive market. It could be you want to gain the confidence of knowing that you have an awesome presentation so you start attracting sellers to you. It could be you want to learn how top agents list and sell hundreds of homes each year, and maybe you want to do it too. Well, if there's one thing to take away from today, it's that I've cracked the code for modeling the top agents' listing presentations and duplicating their results. It has literally changed my world, the world of my new listing agent, and the world of my students. It's very much a replicatable system that you can apply to your real estate practice, and you can finally have a consistent, dependable monthly income stream and the freedom to enjoy it. So the obvious question is, how can you apply this code, this system, this model of the top agents listing presentations to your business and create a consistent monthly income? Well, you have a choice. You can do it slowly using some trial and error and taking some of what I shared today, or you can do it quickly using models in the Listing Agent Summit Recordings Training Program. When in doubt, bring in Einstein. Everything should be made as simple as possible, but not simpler. What is the Listing Agent Summit Recordings? At the summit, 14 top agents demonstrated their listing presentation as we watch over their shoulder and onto their computer screens. You can see and download their real-life listing presentation documents, hear and mimic their words and scripts, and model their best practices. And it was all recorded on video. This is absolutely the fastest way to get from point A to point B. You know, you can get your goal slowly driving this rickety old machine here, or you can get there quickly in a hot red Ferrari. So what exactly is inside the summit? The summit has 14 training videos of the top agents demonstrating exactly what their listing presentation is in detail. By the way, they approached it all a little differently. I kind of had 3 groups. I had one group that would go through and they would role play start to finish. When the time to call came in, they would just role play with me all the way until they got the signature. Okay, that was one approach. Another approach is they would show me and they would just show me all the documents and outline logically exactly what the process was from beginning to end. And then I had a third group that would do both. They would do some role play and then they would step back and say, well, this is why I said that or did that. And then they do role play again. And then they'd say, this is why I did it that way. And they would go back and forth to kind of show you the logic. So it's really, really cool in these 14 training videos. Now, we also have dozens of downloadable samples and handouts so you can see their entire listing system from start to finish. I think this is one of the coolest parts. When I had that videotape that I got X number of years back, I did not get any downloads. I didn't have any samples or handouts. It was just the video. All right, so you're going to get copies of seller lead sheets and appointment setting scripts, pre-listing packages you send before you go, listing presentations with full marketing plans, pricing charts and graphs, forms and checklists, and seller handouts. You're going to get to see what the top agents are actually doing as they go through the entire process. Some of those handouts, for instance, are how the seller preps their home for photos and how they set up for a quick showing. You know, it really comes down to a simple idea. If you want to list homes like the top agents, you need to model the top agent listing presentations, and then you'll get the same results. It's really that simple. It worked for me, it worked for my listing agent, and it'll work for you. So how much will this cost me, Mike? How much is this going to cost? Well, 19 years ago, I wanted to see inside the listing presentation of one top agent who is listing and selling 200 homes per year. I wanted to be just like him. I really did. So after 1 year of procrastinating, I finally broke down, and I purchased and I got his 1-hour videotape. I got to see his materials. I got to see exactly what he was presenting on that video. I got to listen to how he presented, what he was saying, and I got to understand his philosophy for why he was going about it in a certain manner. Was it worth it? Absolutely. I watched the videos, I made it my own, I practiced, and then I went out and started taking listings. Lots and lots of listings. What were my results? Well, it happened very, very quickly. I started to list 5 to 10 homes per month. It really started to ramp up. In my best month, I listed 21 homes in 30 days. I just modeled the top agents and it worked. And why do I keep telling you that? It's because I want you to start listing 5 to 10 homes per month. I want you to maybe have one incredible month where you list 21 homes in 30 days. Wouldn't that be spectacular? Well, I made the investment back in that purchase with my first listing closed, right? I immediately made my money back with, I don't know, maybe 30, 60, 90 days, whatever it was really quick. And then I made literally 1,000 times my investment back over the next few years. It was such an incredible turnaround for my business. I would never trade that experience. I only wish I would not have procrastinated and waited that 1 year. I would have been earning that much faster. Then I realized this is duplicatable, right? Eventually, I want to expand with my listing agent, so I hired the new agent who only had his license for 6 months. If you had your license for longer than 6 months, he'd only closed 2 buyer transactions and no listings. He was listing homes in his second month with my reject leads. And in his third month, he listed 14 homes in 30 days. I mean, if Jamie can do it, I assume that you could ramp up pretty fast as well, right? That's why I'm letting you know about Jamie. These concepts are transferable. That's the coolest part. One person can learn it from another. Anyone can learn how to do it if you're willing to walk the walk and model those successful systems of the top agents. So modeling the top agents, I modeled them and I quickly became a success. Then my new listing agent modeled me and ramped up fast. And now you can model the top agents and start listing homes at a rapid rate as well. So what is the value? That 1-hour VCR videotape I purchased basically cost me about $1,000 in today's money. And at this summit, there are 14 top agents demonstrating their exact listing presentations and sharing their handouts. I didn't even get handouts when I just got the video. So based on that, the 14 video recordings should cost right around $14,000. And you know what? They'd be worth it. A couple of closings, they'd be paid for, and every listing after that would be pure profit. But you don't have to pay $14,000, not even $10,000, not even $5,000. Now, what I should have done is charge $2,000, and a lot of people told me that was the right price, but I'm not going to do that either. You can get the entire summit recordings for only one payment of $997 today. Just one payment of $997 today, you get all 14 listing presentations to view. Now, I've had some agents say, Mike, that makes sense. I want to start listing lots of properties. I want to figure out how top agents are doing it and start modeling them. But I have it's a little hard for me to come up with the $997 today. Do you have any payment options? So I went and I crunched numbers and I tried to make the best payment option I could possibly think of. And this is what I came up with: $97 per month for 12 months. And it's a webinar only special, just doing it on this webinar. So if it's something you're interested in, please take advantage of it. But you can get started today for $97. And yes, when you do it, you get the whole thing right now. I'm not going to hold it back. I'm not going to be dripping out one presentation a month for the next 14 months, right? You get the whole thing right now today. Plus, I'm going to add 3 fast action bonuses because I like action takers. When I start taking action, things started happening in my business. I want you to start taking action too. I call these student-driven bonuses, as these were all designed at the request of the Summit students to make this training even more easy and simple. So fast action bonus number 1 is the seller lead sheet template. I modeled this sheet off of the top agent systems. After I watched all the things that they were doing, I created a simple Word template that you can use right out of the box. You can just start using this tomorrow, or you can modify it to match your business and the questions that you want to ask. Use it to move quickly to determine seller motivation and timing. You'll set appointments with the best leads right away. Fast action bonus number 2, listing presentation template. Very proud of this. What I did was I looked at all the 14 presentations and looked for the common core elements of these top agents, right? I took them out and I put them in a 39-page fill-in-the-blank template that you can use in both Word and PowerPoint. So it's in Word if you like to print this out and do it on paper. If it's in PowerPoint, in case you like to do a slideshow, you can do it that way. Both are very easy to get rolling. All you have to do is enter your name, photo, phone, email, and a little bit of data, and you're up and running. In fact, my goal is to get you up and running in 24 hours or less with an incredible presentation and start listing like the pros. Then we got fast action bonus number 3, my listing presentation that I personally used to list 21 homes in 30 days. People kept asking, Mike, hey, it sounds like it was a great presentation. Could you show us what it looks like? You know what? I broke down, said, fine, let me show you. I'm going to walk you through it. I'm going to demonstrate my exact listing presentation. You can download my presentation and print it out and look at it. You can see my marketing plan. You can see my price bracket strategy. And that's something I'm super proud of because I haven't seen anyone else do it quite the way I did it. So the price bracket strategy, the benefit there is that I was able to use that to get sellers to list their homes at the right price right there coming out of the gate. And if for some reason they were insistent on pricing it at a higher price, I could use my price bracket strategy to bring them right back down, say 2 weeks after the listing starts, to where they need to be. So it's very, very powerful. And I'll show you how I close the listing at my full commission rate. Now, I also have a webinar only bonus. Agents kept asking me, geez, Mike, you know, I understand that if I go out there and I have this incredible listing presentation, I will sign up more people when I get there at the table. But I'm worried that I'm not going to get there at the table as much as I want to. So how can I fill the pipeline? How can I get more sellers into my world that I can set appointments with? And so I said, you know what? I tell you what, we've already done this. We did a summit a while back called the Agent Lead Generation Summit. I recorded the whole thing, and it's really quite spectacular. It's 17 top agents answering this question in detail. What is your number one best lead generation method in today's market? And they all went through and answered it. We were able to look over their shoulder and onto their computer screen as they gave us all the details. And they all had something slightly different, right? So for instance, one of our top agents, oh, there we go. One of our top agents had a Facebook ad that she was using to generate seller leads. I want that to sink in for a minute. You know, internet leads usually get buyers. She had Facebook ads that she showed us that she's using to get seller leads. And I got to look back. The price was amazing. I had $5 or $10 a piece. It was really, really low. It's incredible what she was doing there. Geographic farming. You learn how to do that. If that's something you want to do. And by the way, that can be a great consistent income. He's client sphere of influence and referrals. Most of us have past clients, at least a sphere of influence. You can get repeat and referrals. You can see what the top agents are doing there. Internet leads, pay-per-click, SEO, IDX, stealth sites. There's all kinds of great stuff in there. Phone prospecting, open houses. There's a ton of information about what is the number one best lead generation method for each of these agents. And these are all spectacular agents. So think about getting that. By the way, that's a bonus if you purchase the lead generation, if you bonus the, let's back up. If you purchase the Listing Agent Summit recordings today, I'll put in this webinar only bonus. I'm so excited I can't even talk. When you invest, you have my personal 30-day money back guarantee. Here's what to do now. Just click that big red button under the screen. It looks like this. Here's what's going to happen next. You'll see this page, okay? You just enter your information, and then next you get to pick your payment plan, either 1 payment or 12 payment, and then you're going to click this green button at the bottom of the form, and when you do that, you'll be taken here where you'll see this login screen, and you're going to receive an email from me within 15 minutes with your username and password so you can plug it in, and then you'll immediately be taken right inside with full access to everything. Like here's the first video that you're going to see. And you're also going to have your fast action bonuses and webinar bonus preloaded already for you right in there, ready to go. Okay, so it all starts with taking action. You can do it slow, using trial and error, taking some of what I shared today, or you can do it quickly and model the 14 top agents inside the Listing Agent Summit recordings. So here's what to do now. Just click that big red button on this page and then get immediate access to the Listing Agent Summit recordings, where you're going to find 14 videos of the top agents demonstrating their listing presentations. You can download dozens of samples of pre-listing packages, their listing presentations, marketing plans, checklists, forms, etc. Get fast action bonus number 1, the seller lead sheet template in Word. You get fast action bonus number 2, the listing presentation template in Word and PowerPoint. Really awesome. And then you get the fast action bonus number 3, my listing presentation that I used. You can watch exactly how I listed 21 homes in 30 days. And you get the webinar only special today, where you get the lead generation summit recording, so you can find out how 17 top agents are generating leads into their business. And you get lifetime access and a 30-day money back guarantee. Now you can do the 1 payment or the 12 payment. The 12 payment is only an option on this webinar. We're just putting that out there today to try to help people, but you can get in there and get yourself the Listing Agent Summit recording. So right now, I'd like to go to Q&A and answer any of your questions that you may have about the 3 commission option or anything else that you would like to know. So if you have a question, go ahead and type it in to that chat box at the bottom, press enter, and when the white screen pops up, enter your temporary name on number 2, press go, and I will be able to see your question. All right, I'm going to leave this up while I go over and look for questions. And I'm going to go into the chat box, and I'm going to go way up here. And it might take a minute because I'm going to try to find anything and everything. Oh, we had an anonymous say, are you there? No volume. I hope the webinar keeps buffering and cutting out. I hope most people are able to hear. It's a problem with technology. Sometimes it doesn't work. Keep losing you when the free surprise sheet comes on. I'm not sure what that means, but I hope we're okay. Oh no, I have another one, connection with no connection with sound. Boom. Okay, we'll have a question here though. So I'm hoping, I'm seeing more information, so I'm assuming the sound came back in for most of you. I hope that worked out. How many decline your offer to negotiate in the $9.95 program? Well, I don't know. This is a program that Paul put together to answer that problem on the phone, and he does present it, as you saw at the listing presentation. Just as you saw the way he presents it and the numbers that he uses. And by the way, your numbers will be slightly different. You can do the research to find in those list to sales price ratios, et cetera, and how long it's taken the average agent to sell versus yours, et cetera. And you put them into your numbers and into your chart. But when he's doing that, typically these people are motivated, right? They've already been screened. And so they want the fastest, quickest, smoothest sell. And they take his best, strongest rate. So that's what he's doing there. Okay, and then Terry just said, oh, good. So people were hearing the video. So cool. Mazing. All right. Let's see. And then Sharon asks, what percentage of the sellers go with the 7% option? That was just his highest option. You can structure it any way you want. And the answer was that for Paul, like the majority, like in the 90% range, are going with his best, strongest rate because they're motivated. They want to get it done. They've already got to meet him. They like him. They just want to get this done. There you go. Somebody said they heard the video but had to turn up the volume. Thank you. And boom. And someone said, heard it. It was brilliant. Thank you. I'm glad you heard that. Does the agent only negotiate the offer? Okay, so somebody asked, and it was anonymous, so I don't know who's in there. It said something about, can you explain the $9.95 option again? Does the agent only negotiate the offer? If so, what? Okay, so I don't know what Paul's minimum requirements are per his offer. What I suspect is that if someone were to pick that option, he's probably going to do his full plan and just get that home sold and move on to the next one, because that's just the way Paul is. What he did was he created that option so he could have a conversation, right? He started to lose people that he knew. His repeat and referrals were asking about this commission up front and hanging up the phone. So he wanted to look for a way to get them to at least sit down with him and talk about it. If they choose that lower option, that's fine, but he's not going to make that option look amazing. Why would he? Now, if they did want to do that, that's fine. He'll do the option. And my assumption is that whatever he does, Paul is going to do a heck of a lot better job than the person who's actually putting that program out, and that's all they're doing, right? So you got to kind of take a little bit of a mind shift on that and think about, how can I help the most people, right? Okay, so let's see if we have any other questions. If you have other questions, go ahead and type them in. I'm not seeing anything else pop up, which I'm a little surprised, but that's okay. This is an incredible program and a way to get around if you're running into a hyper-competitive market out there where sellers are seeing all kinds of crazy rates and they're starting to bang you over the head with it. This is a way to say, you know what? We offer that. If you want that, that's great. It's a limited service program, but we can do that for you. But we have all these other options too. Which one do you think is going to be best for you? And that's the key for why they are selecting his highest rate, is he's not going in there high pressure. He's just laying it out. This is what we do. And which one would you like? Okay, well, let's do this. Let's go to the bonus and where you can pick that up. I've promised you a free surprise if you stay to the end. It's a copy of my seller lead sheet. It's my seller intake form that I use to find seller motivation and timing and set the appointment. I used this form when I listed 21 homes in 30 days. I think you could take this form, modify it, and use it for yourself. It'll be fantastic. What I want you to do now is open up a different internet browser window so you don't lose this information here, and type this in, www.mastermindagent.com/lead sheet. So www.mastermindagent.com/lead sheet. Doesn't matter whether it's capped or not, but you can take that information, put it into a little browser, and it's going to bring you over to a page where you can download this sheet and get a copy for yourself. All right, well, that was fantastic. I really enjoyed talking with you today. I hope that was very helpful, and I hope to see you inside the Listing Agent Summit. I hope that you go out there and list tons and tons of property this month. It's a great month for getting listings and taking advantage of the second half of the year. And again, thank you so much for joining me today. Take care. Bye.